Hi! Thank you very much for turning back in. My name is Fonny. In my channel, I talk about my houseplant and my Hoyas. Today, it is another episode of Hoya Bloom series. Before I dig into the content, I want to give you a little bit of background of this particular Hoya. This Hoya, I had it around 8th month, and it is an import I got from ASEAN Plant Export. The flower shape is very similar to Hoya Rebecca. Could you guess which one that is? That is Hoya Sunrise. I got this one and I have to rehab it back to life back in October, November time last year. And this is a very strong Hoya, even though at the time when I got it, it's almost like dead. And I was almost chucking it away because I just don't have enough space. But then I took a chance and then I just put it in a humidity bag, which is a Ziploc bag, and then it re-thrived really quickly, I would say. So that's the background I want to tell you about Hoya Sunrise before I dig into the flower detail. So start off with the first part. How long does it take for the first peduncle to grow? As I mentioned, this one is a rehab plant and it was on the edge of dying because it's super dehydrated when I got it. It took 8 months to have the first peduncle formed under my condition. So I'm really happy about how this plant is really resilient. The peduncle aside, just talking about the foliage growth, it is really fast growing. Right after it has started rerooting in the Hoya, even though it was in winter season, it still pushed out a lot of new foliage. And I have to say the size of the plant has probably tripled compared to the time when I received it. So it took longer time for it to grow the first peduncle. I believe it is because at the time when I got it is winter time. It's not supposed to push out peduncle, and at the same time it has to grow enough root to support the foliage first, and then when it has residual energy, when it is in the optimal point of growth, it finally pushed out the first peduncle in the 8th month. So move on to the Peduncle Formation. I first saw this one around in 2nd of June 2022. It is much longer in the peduncle length and the bud on the tip is also much larger than Hoya Rebecca, for example. But just a bit of background of Hoya Sunrise. It is a hybrid of Hoya Obscura and Hoya Lacunosa. So then it takes that kind of pinkish color of the corolla of Hoya Obscura, and also it took the smell, I would say, from Hoya Lacunosa. So for this peduncle, it started very small tip in the peduncle, and then it grows relatively similar with Hoya Lacunosa. I don't have Hoya Obscura, so then I can't really share how that is compared with, but then it's very similar to Hoya Lacunosa flower peduncle formation process. And in the second week, you can see that it grows much more on the tip. You can obviously see some dots on the end of the peduncle. And then in the 3rd week, it just suddenly grew really quickly. When it reached that mature form of the peduncle, it just grow from very small dot all the way to rounded, obvious bud. It will only take 1.5 weeks, I would say. And then in around end of June, you see that the flower has opened. So I would say it takes 4 weeks to grow from a tiny little dot all the way until the open up of the peduncle. And move on to the flower shape. I don't have it with me because it is right next to the corner of my Hoya corner, right next to the south facing window. And as I said, it is enormous right now. So I'll take you there to show you how the flower looks like. Now in the 4th week, let's take a closer look at the flower shape. You can see that for Hoya Sunrise, it has that kind of similarity. I would say is the same flower shape of other Hoyas, for example, Lacunosa and Hoya Rebecca. Hoya Sunrise is a hybrid between Hoya Obscura and Hoya Lacunosa, so it comes naturally. Why? It has that kind of pink undertone, and that's probably from Obscura, and also it has that kind of white as well because it comes from Lacunosa. And you can see that the corona is yellow color, light yellow color, just like Lacunosa. And if you look into the corolla is slightly pink, and you can also see that on the side. It's very hairy, and that hairy corolla also have a hint of very, very light pink color. And I would say the size of the umbel is doubled, if not tripled, compared to Hoya Rebecca. I actually have Hoya Rebecca flowered right next to it, over here. If we have it side by side, you can see Hoya Rebecca is around half the size of Hoya Sunrise. And also Hoya Rebecca has more pink in the corolla. And for Hoya Sunrise over here, it is more white and yellowish. I believe that's because of the strong genes of Lacunosa inside Hoya Sunrise. But both of them are really similar in the shape. And I would say it's just very nice to see both of them side by side. All right, I hope you enjoyed the close-up of the flower shape. Then we move on to the floral scent. I would say the floral scent is not as exactly the same as Hoya Lacunosa, but it's very, very similar. It has that floral fresh scent. It's quite dense. It's not very kind of light floral scent, but it's sweet, but at the same time it has a little bit of difference. If you can understand what I mean, if you have also flowered Hoya Sunrise before. So it is floral, it has that kind of sweet sense, but it's slightly different than Hoya Lacunosa. Maybe that's the genes from Hoya Obscura. So move on to the flowering duration. I had this one open in the end of June, and then I went on a holiday for a week. And at the time when I went back from my holiday, I see all of the peduncle, I see all of the flower fell off the peduncle. So I would say it took around 5 to 7 days for it to kind of fall. So in other words, the flowering duration is around 5 to 7 days. Then we move on to the Peduncle Nature. This is also a rebuddable peduncle. In the same peduncle, it can rebud again, and again. So that's a good news. So if you've ever seen Hoya Sunrise peduncle, do not cut it off because it will give you new flower afterwards. That's everything I know about the flower information of Hoya Sunrise. Then move on to the care tips. For the care tips, it's very easy. I would say if you have this in a room environment, it could still flower for you. In my condition, I put it right next to the south-facing window, and it has sunlight between 6 a.m. all the way to 12 noon during summer season. And the humidity is between 25 to 39. It's not raining these days, so the humidity significantly dropped. But it's still continuously pushing out new peduncle, so I don't think that's a factor that will affect it growing new peduncle. And with regard to the watering, I have it in my Lechuza pond, also in a self-watering condition. So I don't think it's anything that you need to worry too much about drying it out, because I think for all of my Hoyas, I don't really dry them out until I water it next time. I just constantly keep the pond a bit moist. So yeah, I think it's growing very happily in that condition. So I guess that's everything I know about this Hoya. If you have any question with regard to Hoya Sunrise cattip or any flowering question you have, please leave your comment down below and we can discuss further. If you have any suggestion for me keeping Hoya Sunrise, please also leave your comment down below so that we can learn from each other as well. If you like this content and you want to support me in the future and to produce similar content like the Hoya Bloom series, please be generous enough to hit that like button and also share this video with your friends. If you like this type of content and you don't want to miss out next time when I post new content, please subscribe to my channel so you won't miss out next time. Until next time, I wish everyone is having a great day and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!